Diamond Dallas Page was another one of my favorite guys to travel with. DDP was a classic. A former nightclub manager and walking cartoon character, he had gotten his start as a manager for Vern Gagne's American Wrestling Association. His main attribute at that time was that he was willing to pay his own airfare to television tapings, along with paying for his 2 Diamond girls, and work for free. As a manager, he had been at best average. He had eventually caught on in his home state of Florida as an announcer, where he hooked up with Dusty Rhodes. Dallas was eventually replaced as an announcer. Even as one of his best friends, I've got to admit that his bag of play-by-play cliches was about as well received as a set of fingernails on a chalkboard. So DDP, at the tender age of 35, decided to step into the ring and become a wrestler, where against all odds, he became a top name in the business. It certainly wasn't easy. Most people didn't want to see him succeed. Amid all the negativity, I remember one person predicting big things from him. I was riding in the rental car shuttle bus with Abby when I saw DDP strutting across the parking lot with one of his tacky outfits and some outrageous pair of shades. "He's going to make it, champ," I heard the butcher say. "Dallas?" I asked with shock in my voice, wondering if years of headshots and cage matches had finally taken their toll on my partner. "Why?" "He lives his gimmick, champ," was Abby's reply. "He lives his gimmick." Indeed he did. He used the same tired cliches in real life that he did on TV. "How are you doing?" a lady would ask as we waited for change at her toll booth. "Lady," DDP would start, "if I was doing any better, I'd have to be twins just to handle it." I tended to roll my eyes a lot when I traveled with Dallas. My favorite DDP story occurred somewhere in the Carolinas in the middle of 1993. I was traveling with DDP and stunning, not quite stone cold yet, Steve Austin, and we were in the second day of a week-long loop. Now, you've got to understand, despite all the cartoonish characteristics, Dallas was a very intense individual. So intense, in fact, that he used to ask us to videotape his match every night. He then studied those damn things for hours, looking to improve in any way he could. Because of his intensity, Dallas was easy to rile up on a road trip. On the first day of this particular trip, Steve and I had made a little bet. "How quick do you think we can crack DDP?" I asked, looking forward to this somewhat cruel pleasure. 3 days, replied Austin, looking forward to the challenge. 3 was good, but I had just a little bit more faith. "We can crack him in 2 days, I stated solemnly, giving Austin my best Jack Lord, book him Dano look. The race was on. The first day started with a quality shot. Austin fired it. "My wife wanted me to pick up a couple of antiques on this trip," Steve innocently said. "What did you tell her?" Dallas responded. "I told her I'd already picked up DDP at the airport," Austin said, laughing. Man, an age joke, an especially sensitive subject for the man who claimed he'd never had a bad day in his life. The verbal blow was a good one, but the aging Dallas shrugged it off. By day 2, however, he wasn't shrugging anything off. He was downright cranky. We checked into a hotel after the evening show, and a still sweaty Dallas was looking forward to a hot shower. He stormed out of the bathroom angered that no towels had been left for us. He called immediately and demanded that housekeeping bring him some on the double. The towels arrived while DDP was down the hall getting ice for his many nagging injuries. The guy strapped so many ice packs to his body that I often suggested he just buy a huge cooler and just lie in it. Steve and I looked at each other. DDP was on the verge of cracking. We couldn't let up now. Thinking quickly, Austin hid all the towels except 2 under a bed. When Dallas inquired about the status of the towels, I informed him that the towels had indeed come and that housekeeping had left them in the bathroom. No sooner had Dallas walked into the john than he came storming out. "This is what they brought us," he screamed, holding aloft one hand towel and a washcloth for Steve and me to see. "God damn it, I'm going to get them myself." The moment Dallas walked out, Steve reached under the bed and pulled out about 8 plush bath towels that he placed directly on the TV so that it would be the first thing DDP saw upon his re-entry to the room. "What a maroon," I said in my best Bugs Bunny impression. "He's just about done." Dallas finally did take his shower, and he emerged from the bathroom in typical fashion. buck naked except for an ice pack on his shoulder and saran wrap around his knees that he claimed kept the joints loose. He then began his pre-sleep ritual that included thumbtacking the blinds to the wall so as not to allow even the faintest ray of sunshine into the room in the morning. I found the whole nude thing a little uncomfortable, to tell you the truth. Poor Dallas turned the lights off and settled into his bed for a long, comfortable nap. Little did he know that his evening wasn't quite over. Earlier, a fan had given us a whole batch of chocolate chip cookies that she had baked. While Dallas showered, Steve and I had dumped approximately 36 soft, chewy beauties between the sheets of DDP's bed, and now as he lay there, I could tell that those delicious toll houses were starting to take effect. It started with a little wriggle, and then grew to the point where he knew something was wrong. What's this?" Dallas said to no one in particular. Steve and I remained silent. Suddenly, it hit him. "There's effing cookies in my bed," he yelled. "Someone put effing cookies in my bed." Silence. Dallas was now screaming at the top of his lungs. "I want to know who put effing cookies in my bed right now." I soon gave myself away. I was laughing so hard under my covers that I couldn't help myself. By holding in this laugh, my stomach was rising up and down rapidly, and Dallas detected the quick in-and-out breathing from my nostrils. "You!" he yelled and jumped from his bed, turning on the light and throwing back the covers to reveal a plethora of crumbs, chunks, and chips that a helpful fan had hoped would be eaten by 3 of her favorite sports entertainers. Instead, in an ironic twist, her baking bid had backfired. Instead of being eaten, these innocent cookies had eaten up the livid DDP, who was now hell-bent on vengeance. Dallas lunged for me and threw back my sheets. Unlike the naked DDP, I was attired in Fruit of the Looms. He then gathered as many of the broken pieces as he could carry and threw them on top of me. It wasn't enough. He wanted to make sure the cookies would torture me and ruin my sleep the way that I had ruined his. He sat on me and began jumping, trying to grind the offending cookies into my body as I listened to the strange symphony of bouncing bed springs and crackling saran wrap. "There," he yelled. "How do you like it? How do you like effing cookies in your bed?" He waited for my reply. "Well," I started, "it's not the cookies that I mind. It's the fact that you're rubbing your naked ass all over me." DDP got up slowly. He was a defeated man. He went back to his bed and swept away the remaining cookie parts. He turned off the light and lay back down. After about a minute, he spoke, quietly, sadly. "Guys," he began, I think I'm going to get my own room tomorrow."